Welcome aboard, all you wonderful groomers, pet stylists, and canine cosmetologists. You found the Traveling Groomers Podcast, where we discuss lessons learned from mobile and house call grooming. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Bear Anthony. Any moment now, we'll be joined by my co-host and friend, retired mobile groomer and educator extraordinaire, Mary Oquendo, and very likely a special guest to help us chat about all things grooming, grooming industry related, and just plain fun digressions that I will totally wrangle back to topic. Grab those travel mugs and climb aboard to see where today's topic will bring us. Let's roll.
I was ready to scream, push the button already.
I'm finding the button. Oh, and I think the answer we were looking for is 99.
Oh, that's not bad. I'll go with half with
As
you.
I thought.
No. Okay, guys, topics as usual. We're chatting before we hit record, and we're going to be talking about work and various ways to work, among other things, but make it easy to find what you're looking for. Like if you're listing prices, make that easy to find.
Yeah, Chris was having a little trouble with a website that was not user friendly.
No, I had to.
Somebody needs to send them. Maybe you ought to hire somebody to do your website,
Well,
and not your cousin Joey.
Yeah. I mean, and once I figured out where it was, it's easy enough. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
But yeah.
So we have a guest today.
Hi, guest.
What's going on, guys?
It's another fabulous day in podcast land. And this is Alex Martin of the Daily Groomer. Alex, give us a better intro than that.
No, thank you guys so much for coming on, or I guess the other way around this time. You guys have both been guests and hosts of workshops on the Daily Groomer. For all of you guys in Traveling Groomer Podcast land, I'm Alex. I am the editor and the host at the Daily Groomer. We do email newsletter, Facebook group, podcasts, virtual workshops, all sorts of online education for professional daily groomers alike. So I've, as I mentioned in the beginning, I'm super blessed to have gotten to know you guys through that. Super blessed to have learned from you guys on my own podcast, and even more honored to be guesting for the first time on your guys's. So thanks for having me tonight.
Oh, that's so nice. That was a much better introduction than I think we could have come up with. So thank you for that.
That was really, sometimes that's why we say, take it away.
Right. No, I got to take notes on that. I'm usually trying to write out an intro, and I think you guys got it down. That's what you guys are the pros here.
Well, we've been doing this long enough. Okay. Yeah, so for me, it's all about, well, what is going to make this a little bit easier? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when Chris was complaining about editing, I'm like, sounds fine to me. But if you think it's not, then you should take care of that.
I like that. That's a good mantra, Mary. It's, hey, it's
yeah.
okay for me.
Just saying. Okay. So I met Alex, I believe it was Hershey last year? Hershey last year,
yeah.
Yeah. So, and that was a big show. So that was kind of a crazy show.
That one was nuts.
You were introduced to me by Maria Hedham. What I like about this industry so much is people will put other people in contact with each other who they think we should know who they are. So
yeah. And what I like about that is, once people get to know us and they're like, hey, you need to meet this person. And sometimes you really do. So that's fun.
Yeah. And I like how everyone's so giving. I mean, even that show, Mary, you just jogged my memory there. I mean, Maria paraded me around that first day like I was a carnival pony. Like,
yeah.
She went and found all of her best friends, you included, and was like, "Oh my gosh, Alex, you gotta talk to
I was
Mary."
honestly not surprised that he didn't have maybe one like of Amanda's collars around his neck
Aww.
I
and
mean,
just walked him around. I think you looked really young. Okay. And I think part of the reason you looked really young is because Maria was dragging you around like you were a puppy.
I know. I mean, honestly, and I wasn't stopping her, so it played the part for sure.
Okay. So, one of the things we were talking about, because a lot of times we have sometimes conversations prior to we hit the record button that will never see the light of day. Okay. And other times in which, you know what, this is a really good point. So, Alex is actually recording this at a co working space, correct?
Yep, co-working space right now.
All right. And for those who don't know what a co working space is basically a business where they open it up their business to other business owners to get things done they can't do, whether it's at their shop or at home. And it brought up a really good point because the reason he was doing that is because he couldn't record this at home because there's apparently a party going on there.
Yeah, my roommates are
Ooh.
throwing a little dinner party, so. And I was, Mary, as I was saying before, I mean, I try and come here a lot because I do really believe in that separation of church and state. I think it's really healthy for, we talk a lot about being healthy physically and, on your back and on your hands and stuff like that. But I think mentally, it's extremely healthy to have a separation between where you do your work and where you relax or you hang out with family.
Yes. Oh, I absolutely believe that wholeheartedly because I mean, you have to have a separate space and it can be really hard. You work all day and you think, well, I'll just bring my appointment book home or I'll bring my books home and I'll just do it on the kitchen table. And then there's so many other things that get your attention. Someone's making a sandwich. Someone's got the TV on. Someone's asking you a question. And there's not that separation because now you're in your home doing things that you should be doing for you in your home, and yet you're still now dragging your business into it. That line between you and your business, when you start doing that, becomes really blurred. There should be a solid line between
Yeah.
you and your business. Okay. Um, then it's just like this little free fall into you become your business rather than your business is just simply what supports your lifestyle.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I would bet that contributes to groomer burnout more than we would think. Uh,
Yes.
Again, because you're working no matter what you are, whether an owner or, a groomer just in general, you're working hard all day. And if you bring work home with you, your body doesn't think work ever stops. I mean, really, more importantly, your brain doesn't think work ever stops. And so, you might think you're only on the clock for 8 hours. And I fall into this habit too. When I'm writing the newsletter or when I'm editing up our podcast, I'll be at, the co-working space all day and I'll go home and I'll open up my laptop just thinking, oh, it's just one more thing. I'm just going to get done real quick, right? But in my head, I might think, oh, I only worked 8, 9 hours today. But if I bring that home with me, my brain really never fully disconnected from that. And then I'm going to sleep and getting back at it the next day. And the same thing can happen. You're right, Mary, when you're bringing home your appointment books or you're bringing even home, like even your work phone, if you're bringing that home to catch up on texts for the day or that sort of stuff. Or I mean, even like payroll, all of that sort of stuff, your brain doesn't turn off. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but I can see Chris, putting
I
her head
have
in her hands
I
right now, but I
have
can't
one
imagine that.
phone.
And I can't imagine that helps you stay away from groomer burnout. I mean, that completely.
I've learned a lot and I've gotten much better at knowing when to shut it down, but I also know myself and I know that I can't keep track of two phones. Like if I try to separate it at that level, I will drop half of everything. I
But
just
that's
will.
fine. But you know what? At a certain time of the day, your calls, first of all, you should have do not disturb on your phone.
Oh, yep. Yep.
But at some point, if you look at your phone, someone calls and it's a client, you look at the phone, you don't have to answer it.
Oh no, that 100% happens. That happens. And then the only problem is me spending 5 minutes going, Oh, they did not just text me at 11 o'clock at night. That did not just bleep and happen.
I don't not understand why people have such an issue with that. First of all, you have do not disturb. You shouldn't even be notified of that text. Okay. But I doubt, maybe some do, but I doubt that person texting you at 11 o'clock is expecting you to respond to them. Okay. I text my vet's office. They have a dedicated line. When I need insulin and needles for Cecil, it's usually because I noticed it at 8 o'clock at night when I'm getting his insulin ready. Oh, I need needles and insulin. I'll just text them while I'm thinking about it. They'll get back to me sometime the next day. But that's my expectation also.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, tell me this, because you guys have both been groomer owners. I feel like a lot of groomer owners think that, okay, if I'm grooming all day and nighttime is when I'm supposed to answer the calls, texts, appointments I've missed. So some groomer owners might be listening thinking like, okay, yeah, that's great and all, but when am I supposed to answer that stuff then? What would you guys reply to that?
That's when you set your working hours. And your grooming hours and your working hours may be slightly different. You may say, I end grooming and I try to, wrap up and get home by X amount of time, but then I have an hour to do, because you still got to break down whether you're a house call or mobile. You have to clean the van, you have to replenish your stuff. If you're house call, you may have to bring in things to charge, you may have to refill shampoos, sprays, etc. Like your day doesn't end when you leave the last house. So you add that time, but you put a limit on it at the end of the day.
So like, for example, so we're recording the podcast. Podcast is 6 o'clock my time. We theoretically will finish up at 7 my time, give or take. Okay. But then once it's over, I turn my computer off. Day is done. Okay. My hours because I'm no longer grooming, my day's hours, my start and end times can vary from day to day to day. But there is still a beginning time and there is still an end time. And when it's the end time, I don't work. I don't answer phone calls. I don't answer text, because that'll be for my next work day. And tomorrow is Thursday, so Friday. It's the way it goes. Thursdays is always off. Very few exceptions. When I'm coaching people, I'm like, you will not have an emergency on a Thursday. Let's be clear with that.
Yeah. Oh, and Mary is waving a finger at me because it's time for our first commercial break, and I'm just completely out of it today. And she's right to mention, because it's all about education. What if I told you you could have a year's worth of online education for less than the cost of one in-person trade show? That's right. For only $97 a month, you have access to a different 2-day educational conference with 10 hours of material taught by the best in the industry. Every month has a new theme that includes anything from grooming skills to business and everything in between. Can't catch it live or just want to rewatch it? Recordings are available for 6 weeks with closed captioning for both live and recordings with transcripts. What are you waiting for? Grab your membership today at positiveed.com.
Wow.
Now, that sounds great.
It
Sounds like
does.
someone I know.
All right. So, Alex, tell us about. Here's Pooh Bear. There he goes.
Oh, there he is.
See, it's not a
that.
podcast without Pooh Bear.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't even recognize you without him.
Yeah, he's been a little annoyed with me because I went away to California for a couple of days for an association meeting, came home for literally like a day and a half, and then I left him again, Chris, to go to the Tacoma show. And
it's just rude.
Yeah, he's not happy with me.
I'd be mad at you too.
Yeah.
Have you ever brought him with?
No, he is not suitable to bring to a trade show.
Just anxiety or
Yeah, he'll try to eat your face if you get too close to me.
So basically, no hugging Mary when Pooh is in your sweater.
Yeah. He's,
basically like half of the people at the trade shows.
oh yeah,
Should-
yeah.
yeah.
He's not go. He doesn't want to be tight. He doesn't want anyone to touch him. He's just going to be in a bad mood. Okay. Because people are like around his mom. And then there's people who think because he's so little and he's cute that he must also be cuddly.
Yeah, no.
But that would not be the case.
Yeah, and they'd learn real quick.
They would learn, oh yeah, he's really good at setting boundaries.
That's funny.
So anyway, so there's a couple things that you do. So let's first of all tell me about the newsletter you put out.
Yeah, for sure. So the newsletter is actually where it all started. So I like to say I'm a writer and like a business person's body. I like writing a lot. Which is very different than how I grew up. I mean, I was a math kid growing up, and I despised every sort of writing and history course. But I just kind of fell in love with it when I got older. Just something about writing just really struck with me, and so that's where everything all started with the Daily Groomer. Is we started writing articles about grooming business owners that had figured something out. And I say that loosely because everyone's got a little trick that some might think it's a trick, some might think it's just another Tuesday in the van, right? That the rest of the world needs to hear. And so that's where everything all started, where we would figure out kind of what everyone's little trick and knack was, and we'd write about it. And these were just in blogs to start with on the Daily Groomers website. And then somebody said to me, hey, like I would read a lot more of these. Could you just email me every time you write one? That's kind of where the email newsletter started from. And so it started with just stories of groomers every Friday. But what it kind of morphed into now is tips and tricks for groomers and grooming business owners. And we moved the stories over to the podcast because people like to hear those live rather than read those every week. So the email newsletter right now is written by me and usually a couple other groomers in our community that help every Wednesday and Thursday. So, last week, what did we write about last week? Last week we wrote about how to get your grooming business to rank on Google. And that's something that, I have personal experience in. So I just sat down and cranked that one out, just a short guide on, hey, if you're looking to do this, this is what I would do if I was you. I think the week before was maybe on how to give a teddy bear haircut. And obviously I'm not a professional in that. So we had a couple people from the community help out. We got on a phone call. We wrote it all out together. So it's kind of a mix between everything there, but the intent is just to help people on a weekly basis, just something simple delivered to their email.
Like, and tell us why the average business, the average grooming business, why should they have a newsletter?
That's a good point, Mary. You don't think about that a lot. Well, one thing that I've really come to respect about a paying customer is they don't care if you're doing something right or wrong. They just want to be informed. And what I mean by that is a lot of people have a fear of telling people, there's fears about telling customers lots of things like raising prices or maybe new location or stuff like that, right? But everyone at the end of the day, no matter who you are, human beings just want to be informed. And the real resentment and anger comes when they're not informed, right? When something comes out of the blue and hits them. So I've always said that even if you've got bad news, just deliver it. Because at the end of the day, people will appreciate that more than finding out later that they didn't know. And so how does that connect to email newsletters? I mean, an email newsletter is something simple to just get in front of your customers or your clients on a weekly basis or even on a monthly basis. Weekly is too much. If you're saying, Alex, it's cool that you like to write, but I don't like to write. That's all right. I mean, just send 12 a year, right? One a month, something short. Hey, these are some of the funny things that happened this month at the shop. Here's maybe, a tip that you can take home or that'll help you brush Fluffy better, right? Here's our groomer's favorite tip to help you brush Fluffy better this month, right? Or here's a cool new product that you can buy for at home that'll help Fluffy, even if it's not grooming related. Here's a cool new food that's out in the market. These people trust you guys, right? And they trust groomers around their dogs. And so if you were to inform them on a monthly basis about maybe updates on the shop or your van, updates on, maybe some tips and tricks, that sort of stuff, it's going to keep that client a lot closer to you than if you only talked to them when they came in or when they scheduled appointments, right? You're really taking that relationship from transactional to relational. You're building a friendship with them instead of running a business for them, right? It's a little bit different. I mean, you tell me how you're going to lose a client if they become your friend, right? And a lot of you guys are out there, like mobiles, for example, are probably shaking your heads like, yeah, like pretty hard to lose a client once you get them as a friend because they start to trust you and they start to build a little bit forgiveness if you mess something up. But, it's because it's friendship first rather than, oh, hey, this person messed it up. Let me go look for somebody else. So all that to say, I think an email newsletter couldn't hurt on a monthly basis, even if you don't want to do it on a weekly basis, because it's just keeping your clients informed and it's building that relationship a little bit deeper.
Okay, good reason. And I do like to make mention when we talk about newsletters is a newsletter is not you grab your email list and then you go over to Yahoo or Google or whatever is your email provider and send out an email that way, because that's actually can be considered illegal to do that. All right. There are, and you don't even have to spend money on this. The one free service I believe is still MailChimp, correct?
I'm not too well versed in all of the services out there, but you might be right, Mary. There's at least got to be a few of them that are free that you can load your client list into. And what Mary's saying about it being illegal is basically you have to give people an option to unsubscribe or to report as junk and stuff like that, right? I mean, if Mary just emailed you every month and you're like, I don't want to be on this. If she's just emailing you on her Yahoo, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And there's also, besides the whole unsubscribe thing, and if you don't blind copy people, everyone you send the email, you're giving out everybody's email address. That's another no-no.
Don't do that.
So I believe MailChimp is the only free option you have. There's lots of newsletter services. I could be wrong on MailChimp being the only free one, but you know what? You at least follow the rules. And the other thing is your email list is yours. If Facebook decided to like, I don't want to do this anymore and shuts down or decides you're a problem, you're a big problem for us, we're kicking you off the platform. And then anything you've built up as far as your social media presence on Facebook and then of course then Instagram, you're out of luck.
Yeah, you're right. That's actually a great point. There's a couple TikTokers, grooming TikTokers in our community that have flirted with TikTok bans before. And I mean, obviously, if you've got a big following, whether it be on TikTok or Facebook, and you get punted off, a lot of those people are your customers and clients. Maybe, a lot of them could be customers and clients. And if you're not in control of your audience, I mean, it could be gone in an instant. So I think you're so right, Mary, where it's like you're renting your audience if you're going through Facebook and some of these other platforms versus just, communicating with them directly.
Yep. So anyway, so are we up for another commercial before I ask Alex another?
Wow, Mary, you and I are actually trading roles right now. I had marked down when to do another commercial, and it is exactly the correct time.
Are we like in tune with each other today or something?
I think we just did a body swap. I don't know. I am out of tune, and there's like some Freaky Friday situation going on. Just saying, be back in 30 seconds. Hanvey Engineering isn't just for mobile groomers. I have loved my Hanvey equipment for years before I even thought of getting a mobile van, and I wouldn't want to groom without my Bathing Beauty and hair vac. With every piece of equipment in their van and outside of it having its own QR code linked to troubleshooting tips and fixes, these low-maintenance workhorses turn potential roadblocks into mere speed bumps. Check them out yourself at hanvey.com. I don't know where the double finger guns came from either. I don't. Sorry, Hanvey.
It's not something I would ever do, so it did not come from any body swapping.
No, I am.
Oh, man.
If I'm doing finger guns, check my blood sugar. Just saying.
That was good, Mary. That was good.
Okay, so after you did the newsletter, what was the next thing? Was the podcast the next thing you did?
Yeah, the podcast was the next one. And honestly, this might have been at the hands of Maria Hedham as well. I can't remember exactly how it started, but she told me one day that I think she was reading some of the stories and she was like, I would just like to listen to these. Can you record these while you're doing them? Because how I would do them is I would get on a Zoom similar to this and I would just talk to the person like they're my buddy and like learn about their business and prod and poke until I found the thing, right? And I think it was Maria that said, "Why don't you just record them and put them out there?" And that's what we started doing, and then it evolved into, what it is today. And today we're recording this on Wednesday. Like today's podcast, we had a guy named John Hewitt who had founded Liberty Tax. If you guys know what that is, a tax franchise, one of the largest.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the largest in North America. Crazy. He actually sold that tax franchise, one of the largest, in North America, and went and started a mobile grooming company. And so talking to
No
him
shit.
about what applies from, running a strip mall tax business to running a multi-van mobile grooming company was fascinating. And so that's where the podcast has kind of evolved into today. And similar to your guys' I try and keep it conversational and I'll listen to all of them in the space to see what I can do better. I've got some road in front of me until I get up to the level that you guys are at, but it's been fun nonetheless. I mean, I wouldn't be, friends with you guys if it wasn't for that. So
Okay. There's a lot of podcasters out now, which I love, by the way, because we all have a voice and all the voice is different. So like even this podcast with me and Chris has a different voice than Women Petpreneurs has.
right.
Mainly because this voice cusses.
Yeah, my podcast
And snorts.
And snorts.
My podcast is client friendly.
You can play it on your speakers in the salon.
Yeah.
You can play it on the speakers in your salon and not worry about somebody walking in as Chris is dropping a couple of different F-bombs and the groomers are rolling on the floor laughing to the horrified look on a client's face. But yes.
Yes, many of my friends have found out the difficult way that I'm not one to have on speakerphone. Because even my horrified apology will come out like, oh, fuck, why you gotta warn me about this shit? Like, you don't just put me on speakerphone. As I hear the voice of a small child in the background. And I'm like, shit, sorry.
Yeah, so at the booth at Tacoma, a child picked up the book, A Spirited Dog. And it's a very cute story. And except for the fact that there's a fair number of F-bombs in there. And then, of course, baby, the Chihuahua has a lot of attitude there. That's not, we'll call it PG-13. It's not rated G. And she's picking up, looking at the book. And I'm like, there's F-bombs in that book, just so that she know that.
It
like
looks
you really
all cutesy.
don't want to read any further here, little kid.
Yeah.
Well, wait, did you tell the kid or the parent?
The parent. I looked up at the parent and said, there's F-bombs in this book. I'm just telling you before you go and buy it for a 5-year-old.
Because
you made it look too friendly.
Yeah, because it's going to make the kid want.
Yeah.
It's going to make the kid want it.
It's a little bit deceiving.
That reminds me in my life before grooming, in my grunge phase where I worked at Sam Goody, if anyone remembers that being around. Somebody came in and was buying a rap album cassette for their kid, and they're looking at the explicit and non-explicit, and they're like, well, how bad can it be? And I'm like, that title of the album is what she named her lady bits. Like that's her name for her woohoo. Um, so if that will help you make an informed decision, she's
So
like,
this time, please judge a book by the cover.
right? It's like, I mean, to be fair, I said, look, to be fair, I haven't listened to it, so I don't know how bad it is. However, I do know this fact about it. And she's like, oh no. No.
That's too good. That's so good. I
So
mean, even
yes,
this podcast, you click it, and you're like, oh, this looks friendly. You got two friendly faces. There
does.
can't be anything that's dropped in here. It's like you guys need
Yeah.
in your little intro like a warning, like do not repeat anything said in this podcast. Do not play on speakers in your
Do
salon.
not play. We should have a not client friendly.
Yes.
But okay, I'm gonna we're gonna have our first digression, but it's going to be still kind of on topic because we're talking about business things. There are things that are technically client friendly in terms of there's no cussing involved, but I'm not comfortable listening to a grooming podcast where we're discussing our clients and the dogs in front of other clients. Like to me, that's not client friendly
Yeah.
because we're not saying anything bad, but it's a groomer having a private conversation, that they're sharing with the world regarding a specific client and their dog. And even though they're not saying, Mary J. Smith from 127 Chestnut Street in Hoosamajizzits, Washington. We're not saying that, but I feel like if I were a client and I heard that, I would be like, well, then what are they saying about me?
100%. That's where my mind immediately goes. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, if they're just going on this podcast airing out,
yeah,
gripes about their
exactly.
clients, it's like, was I ever mentioned on that? You
Now,
know?
I am not. I talk about clients. I love we discuss these things. Am I saying there's anything wrong with that? Oh, hell no, because this is how we learn. This is
Yeah.
how we learn. This is how we grow, and we teach each other through our both mistakes and successes. However, would I consider it client friendly? Probably not. Just
Yeah.
just
No,
saying.
there's something too about like the people you're around, you want to know where they're getting their content diet, right? Like what do they listen to? Who are the
Mhm.
kinds of people that they surround themselves with? Because, you could act one way to me, but an easy way for me to tell who you really are is, how do you act with everyone else? What do you listen to? What do you read? What do you watch? That sort of stuff, right? So I feel like that's kind of like almost in branding exercises, right? Not to make another digression on that digression, but that's kind of your personal brand. That's what that reflects on. It's like if I walked into your salon, Chris, and you're playing rap music. I mean, instantly I have a first impression of you, whether that's a good thing or not.
Right.
It's part of your brand.
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
mean,
one of these stickers up here says, "We digress." We got little stickers.
okay, so now that I am back sort of on track and on form, it's time for another 30-second break, and we're going to talk about that and digress to branding
Perfect.
when we come back. Okay, you know I love my Evolution swivel shears, and you even know that these customizable shears come in non-swivel as well. But did you know that they're the only ones I've been trusting my sharpening with for around 15 years, and that's how we met? What? You haven't tried their sharpening yet? If so, send in your next batch of sharpening and you'll get one shear sharpened for free with a $75 order just for telling them where you heard about them. Your shears and blades will thank you. Mary, did you like it, Tacoma? We got to use our projector.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That
Well,
that we at the Evolution booth, we got a logo projector so we can put like our logo, and we got one little slide made up that says, Evolution sharpening. If it's not Mo, just say no.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
I am constantly amazed by his sharpening skill because he can look at a pair of scissors and see what went wrong. Like if it was sharpened poorly, And
Really?
we had a pair come in at the weekend. I'm looking at it and going, we had two that one I was able to figure something out, and one he just did this perfect diagnostic on. And I'm like, did they take a beveled edge and make it convex? Wouldn't doesn't that that took off a lot of metal. He's like, yeah, this is what the problem is here. And this one, there's the inside ride is too big, like they over sharpen this is the problem here. And I'm like, my
Oh my,
mind was absolutely blown.
that's
But
remarkable.
yeah, that's
It's remarkable people like that that have, that's using every part of your body too, where it's like you can store all that knowledge, but your eyes are also so sharp to see it,
yeah.
and your hands, you've been doing it
And
for so
then
long. I mean,
you got to be able to do it and physically do it. But when you're talking about branding and stuff like that and business things, it's not just uniforms.
mhm,
Like people think branding is your logo, your color, your uniforms. It's not just that. Like that's, I think, a start, but it is the music playing in your salon, how your employees answer the phone. To me, it's a little bit of everything. So I like
experience.
that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think two areas that people forget is like, two easy examples here. One, like, have you ever left a Chick-fil-A not happy? And like that's a silly example, but like seriously, they have the thickest branding guide of more businesses than you've ever met because they are all taught, freakily to say my pleasure after everything, right? And like, yes, that's so silly, but it embodies over to their entire experience where everyone there is smiling at you, is making you feel all warm and happy. They're willing to refund you at a second if something's wrong, right? And
Versus
that plays out.
Popeyes.
Yeah, Popeyes, no.
Well, although I can honestly say I've never left a Chick-fil-A because I don't think I've ever gone into a Chick-fil-A.
What?
I also don't eat meat, so I have
Okay.
no reason
Okay.
to now
Okay.
go
That,
into a
that totally
Chick-fil-A.
makes sense.
So,
Bad example that'll hit for
but no,
most
but
of the
I
listeners.
got it. I got
Yeah.
it because I
Not
know
like
they
that.
have. No, no, no.
Yeah.
But
And I
but
feel
I
like,
get it.
branding plays over to digital too. I mean, like the candle shop, right? I mean, part of the, like, imagine, I mean, you found it after fumbling around for 5 to 10 minutes, but
Yes, yes, that place I was. It took me forever to find prices
100%. And it's like, what does
because
that tell you about the business? I mean,
yeah,
obviously it wasn't intentionally hid,
yeah,
but it starts to get your mind wondering a little bit. Like we were joking even about it. We're like, oh, they're not showing prices. They probably don't
uh,
want you to know, right? So it's like, even that is in branding, where everything that you do as a company that is client facing, whether it's, as easy as your uniforms or, you take a step back to the music playing, to the smell in your salon, that sort of stuff to even a little bit further where it's like, okay, what's your website look like? Like what we were talking about, Mary. Do you have, an email newsletter? Like even that sort of level tells you everything to expect about that experience. And, expectations, they lead to happiness. When people break expectations or when you lose expectations, that's when people start to get unhappy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what is your no pressure? Because I just realized this is not the trick question, it seems like. But what is your favorite tip or tidbit or thing you've had on the Daily Groomer?
Oh my gosh.
No, you don't
Um,
have to say us. I mean,
no,
clearly, because we know
no,
it's
that's
one of
okay.
us.
There is one that really only applies to mobile people. That I was actually I'm friends with this guy now, and Mary's actually had him, I think, on maybe Petpreneurs, not a woman, but a man. His name's Matt Harwood. He told me a little hack that accelerated his business right in the beginning. That we actually, I think it was 3 weeks ago, we put out a little guide in the Daily Groomer for quick marketing tricks. If you're down clients for a couple weeks, or you just need to pick up a few and you don't want to pay any money, these were some quick ideas to do that. And one of them is what Matt rode all the way to 24 vans. He did this to go from 0 to 24, and he still does it today. And it's so simple. And I didn't even believe him until he sent me pictures that it works. So he's got mobile vans. And now he spends money on it, but he prints out magnets that are very simple that say dog grooming, phone number, and a price. And he puts them on his van and he pulls up his van and one of his vans, and he leaves it at Home Depot Saturday and Sundays. And he fills up the entire van with his little magnets. He parks it at Home Depot and he leaves it for the weekend. He comes back when he's gone or when he's done with the weekend to pick up his van, maybe Sunday night. Most, if not all, of the magnets are gone. And even I'm like, Matt, there's no way that's real.
No. That's actually very valid, because let me tell you my magnet story. Okay. So I had magnets printed up. This car's printed up when I first started. And I'm driving along and this car pulls up alongside me. So we're driving. And he's like, "You got a card?" So I take one of my magnet cards and I flicked it towards the car. Took 2 times. So on the second time, the magnet stuck to the car and off they went.
You're kidding.
I know.
That's the best business card handoff I've ever heard. Just throwing it while you're on the highway. So that's another strategy. You get on the highway, roll down your windows, maybe put a few kids in the back, give them a sticky notes, or give them little business card magnets of Mary's liking, and just start flinging them out.
Nice.
Yeah, but no, the magnet play, that's super interesting. I mean, that's, something so simple that you think wouldn't work, but I mean, I guess it makes sense, especially if your vans look nice. Like, why wouldn't you go up and grab one?
Well, and here's the other thing. People love magnets.
Yeah.
When we moved from Connecticut to Washington, I had to throw out some magnets. Okay.
That hurt you.
It hurt me. Okay. Because, people love magnets. And I would go into people's houses. Okay. And there'd be my magnet sitting on their refrigerator. And it'd be the first time I'm there. Okay. And there's my magnet sitting on their refrigerator. So somehow they got a magnet from me.
There you go. And I mean, I feel like super clients, like, they want to support you. At the very worst, they're just going to take a magnet to put on their fridge just to be nice, right? So,
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like magnets are super easy. Like, if you're going to do business cards, might as well do magnets. But there's a ton of things. I think
magnets hold up kid and grandkid art.
There you go. Yep, they're always looked at, right?
Again.
The finger guns.
The finger guns again.
I don't want to roll it.
That one was just
You're gonna
pointing.
need to reload.
That one was just pointing.
Listen, no. That was definitely finger guns.
That was finger gun. And look, regarding the reload, you don't know what my magazine capacity is. There's no.
I mean, I think Mary and I are hoping that it's very low.
Yes, but as anyone who knows me well can also tell you, I am full of it. So probably. I'm also hoping it's low right now, because I'm like, why am I even doing that? Please stop. I'm not myself today.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we time for a commercial?
Yes, we're really time. Give me a chance to recoup. This is a full length commercial. I'll have to reel it back. Don't come at me about I have my First Amendment rights to think. Not gonna finish that statement. I love being a house call groomer, but I hate doing laundry or worrying about asking my clients for fresh towels. Raypet has solved those problems for me with the Wet Pet disposable towel. Taking up much less space than traditional cotton towels and easy to wring out and reuse, these super soft, comfy, absorbent towels eliminate any cross-contamination concerns between pets. And now their new smaller washcloth size can even help those sensitive eye areas. Great for cleaning out wrinkles gently and thoroughly. Need to keep water bowls for your clients on hand that are easy to disinfect, but hate all the room traditional clanky metal bowls take up? Or just have a very active pet? Their collapsible silicone bowl comes with an aluminum D-ring hook that can be attached to your pet's leash or anywhere else in your van for easy storage. You can get one by itself or in their handy travel kit, along with a set of 3 tick removers and 1 small wet pet towel. So stop by their website to check it out, raypet.net, and tell them the Traveling Groomer sent you. Wow, Mary, time to reel it in.
Okay.
Can't believe. Anywho.
So you have people in the industry come in and teach something, correct?
Yep, that's right.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I mean, the podcast is really just stories, right? So they might not know, like you guys have both been on. You guys probably don't even know that you were teaching something, right? But there's definitely people that picked up what you guys are throwing down. But something new that we've been doing, which both of you guys have been on, is the virtual workshops. And so, you guys are both excellent teachers. So that's why you're flying out to Tacoma and all this stuff, right? All the conferences. But we all know it's hard to get to a lot of them, right? And it's expensive,
Yeah.
especially if you're like, if you're a groomer, or I mean, even a lot of groomer owners, you can't afford the time or the cost to get out to all of them, right? So one thing that a lot of our community members were asking for was at first was it, hey, is there anything we can do? Like, can you record them while you're there or stuff like that? And we know you can't do that, but I figured that an easy ask would be, hey, if you've given a talk at one of these, would you want to come give it to our community, afterwards? Like you've already been paid for it, you've already done it. Totally okay if you don't want to do it. But it was just an easy ask that at the very least I could make on behalf of the community members. And, people like you guys that are just, kind had come on and said, yeah, I'll absolutely do that. And so that's a where, Mary, as you point, the educational stuff right now, a lot of it's been in these virtual workshops that we'll do once a week, that we'll just have people like yourself come on and teach something pretty specific. So like this Monday, we have Chris coming on and doing her almost everything shears talk. Almost. That's good. I love it though. I actually love the name. Almost everything shears talk, just for people that, maybe couldn't catch the full everything
Yeah.
shears and more. Right. So it's just little stuff too. And like, I hope it does, even Mary, like when you came on and you talked about some of the other courses that you do, like, I mean, at the very least, it's some sort of quid pro quo. You got people listening and, we're promoting you guys that hopefully people kind of come through and, sign up for positive ed or sign up to go see, maybe they put it on their bucket list. Hey, I want to go see the full everything shears and more talk. Right. So that's kind of where a lot of the educational focus has been right now. And there's obviously tons of room to grow still, but that's kind of everything that we've been focused on.
All right. So
Love it.
tell me, how does the grooming community support you?
That's a great question. I mean, they keep the smile on my face even when it's 9 o'clock at night, right? So 9 p.m. and I'm still here. And that's a lot of the reason because I just really love working with the grooming community, right? It's funny. I mean, I grew up around pets. My mom's a vet and my dad sells dog treats. And so like pets at work was a commonplace for me. Right? It's like it's always been pets at work. It's always been working with animals. And though I'm not, working with them in my hands every day, working with the people that support them and support the industry is that much more giving to me. So I think it supports me in a lot more than people think because it does keep me like there's a reason that, all of us wake up every day, right? And you guys
Mm-hmm.
probably find the same energy that I do in working with pet professionals. So support me like nobody's business.
Okay. So how do we financially support you?
Well, the Daily Groomer right now is a completely free resource. Maybe in the future that'll change, but for right now, it's something that's more of a passion project of mine than anything.
Okay.
So it's not anything that I'm looking to extract value from right this moment. So it's more, it's more of a free, like just a free value thing. Like it's something that I wish that a lot of my family friends that were groomers had when I was younger. And, when I was younger, even, high school age, a lot of the stuff that I could do to help people is just build little websites for like local groomers and help them with like, calculating commission and stuff like that. Like I said, I was a numbers kid growing up. So that was all the little stuff I could do then. But now that I'm have the resources and have kind of the attitude to go at it, just providing free value every way I can is kind of the kind of what I'm doing.
Okay. I applaud you.
Yeah.
I remember, Mary, when we talked last time, you're like, some choose free, others choose smart. And I think that's the joke you got me with. But I mean, hey, maybe
Yeah.
it'll change one day. It's just like I don't need the Daily Groomer to pay my bills right now. And at the very least,
Okay.
like,
So
I don't need
what
help.
can I ask what does pay your bills right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So you were asking about marketing before.
Yeah.
I in my past life, even through like I went to college, even through college, I would run startups. And so like tech startups, because as I said, I was a kind of a techie number guy growing up and did that all through college. And now during the day or even during nighttime when I'm not recording podcasts with you guys, I do small contracts to help other startups with their marketing. And so a lot of them are, tech startups, but a lot of them are local businesses. Like I said, I grew up in a, kind of surrounded by pet service businesses and pet service professionals. So a lot of those original things where I was just helping out, the salon down the road build their website, a lot of those have kind of continued on to today, where it's just, I kind of take bits and pieces here and there. And it's kind of it's kind of something that I like to do because it keeps my mind rolling. I'm always learning because it's always something new. It's always someone new. And it's always, I'm always sharpening my skills somehow. And a lot of those marketing tricks and tips I can take from these other industries, or I can take from other service businesses that have worked and teach them to groomers. I might not be the most help right now when it comes to actually grooming techniques. That's where I bring in the community members to help. But when it comes to growing a local business, I mean, that's where kind of my bread and butter has been for the last, couple decades of my life here.
All right, a couple of decades of your life.
Meaning both of them? Meaning both of the decades of your life. Meaning both of them.
You're warming up now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's because, sorry, Mary and I are laughing because please don't take this as rude. It's meant sweetly, but to us, you look about 16.
That's fair. I mean, I've got 34. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because you know what? We were born in the 1900s, so.
I was too, so I can wear that one on my sleeve.
Yeah, no, we're solidly in the 1900s. I saw a T-shirt.
No forgiveness there.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I saw a T-shirt. It was something like, "Forgive me, I'm slow. I'm from the 1900s."
No, it is funny to think about that now. Like you see, like I was on a golf trip with for a bachelor party last week, and the groom's younger brother was there, or stepbrother. And he said he was born in 2005, and even that, I was like, "Holy cow, that's just crazy to me to think about."
Yeah. He's an adult.
Yeah, the T-shirt had a covered wagon on it.
That's funny.
Well, and my dad was born in 1911.
Gosh.
So that every so often I get freaked out because I'm watching like a Western or something, and I go, wait, oh fuck, my dad was alive when this was said. I'm like, I mean, because the Wild West show toured into the night into, I want to say, the 20s maybe. So I'm like,
wait a second.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris. Hey, yes. Chris. My parents were alive during the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Okay. 1920 something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if my dad was born in 1911, he 100% lived through the Great Depression. I blame, oh, by the way, for us, Mary, are you technically a Gen X, or are you the dreaded B?
Oh, no, I am close to Gen X, but no, I am a boomer.
Okay. So to explain and defend, because my dad was a little like, everyone thought he was my grandpa growing up. So to defend a lot of the stupid crap boomers do. Sorry, Mary. They were reared by people who went through the Great Depression.
Yes, yes.
That fucks with your mind. I'm no joke. That messes with your mind. Very similar to, I mean, in 10, 20 years, we're going to be talking about people who are then raising their kids, and they're like, you don't understand. I didn't get a high school graduation because of COVID. And, that whole thing screwing up a lot of people's heads. That's a really good point. So the Great Depression was a much longer period, and it ingrained things in them. And I've had conversations with friends who are a little older than me, whose parents were lived through the Great Depression, not as old as my dad, but things like, pun intended, we got shit at home for using too much toilet paper. You get crap for using too much toilet paper, for wasting water, for wasting food, for God forbid some food gets spoiled or you don't finish your plate or I can't believe
Okay, so
in defense of boomers.
my father's favorite saying was he'd walk into the house and all the lights were on and it'd be, what is this? Am I lighting up Lunar Park or something like that?
But I will say also in defense of boomers, I mean, would you rather have it the opposite way? Like, would you rather be raised with the opposite of a frugal mindset? I guess spoiled would be the opposite. Would you rather be raised like that? I feel like there's a lot of benefit to be had being raised frugal versus being raised spoiled.
Yes.
I don't know if spoiled's the direct opposite, but you guys get what I'm saying.
Yeah. But when you're taught to, or not taught anything about money and not taught how to, the value of it at all.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe it's not
I
spoiled. It's
didn't.
like you raised to spend. Like the light, it
Right.
doesn't matter if the lights are on, doesn't matter if you use double ply toilet paper, or like, that sort of stuff.
Oh, I can't believe I almost used the value of a dollar phrase. Almost came out
Back
of
in
my.
my day. That's
Is
okay,
it,
Chris.
what
This is a
time is
safe
it?
space.
Is it
At
time?
least she
You
didn't
know
do the
what?
finger guns.
You know what? Nah, see, Mary did the finger guns. Mary, check your blood sugar. I'm going to hit the button for the last commercial of the day because clearly we're coming up on Mary's dinner time. And speaking of continuing education, because we either were or will be, join the Andis World Class Education Team each month for live interactive virtual classes. You'll learn new and trending styles, as well as tips and tricks from some of the best groomers in the industry. Whether you're looking for basic skills, trending styles, advanced techniques, or even just ways to spark your creativity, the new Andis Grooming Education site is your source for finding what you need to create your way for success. Try new techniques, learn from the pros, and grow your confidence today at andis.com/groomer education. Traveling Groomer Podcast listeners, hey, that's you, can get 25% off your first course today with the code VEGROOMING at checkout on andis.com/groomer education. And we're back. And that was not a finger gun. That was pointing. Mary actually pulled out the finger guns because
Good thing you got that on video.
right? Because people would not believe it.
Okay, so where are you have any plans to go to any upcoming trade shows?
I actually was just putting on my schedule today. I was just looking at my schedule today for the upcoming ones. Which ones are you guys going to be out at?
Super Zoo.
Okay. In Vegas?
In Vegas. Well, Chris is going to be there briefly.
Yes, I'm going to be there briefly, but I will be at Super Zoo. I'm also going to be at the Teton show, and that has moved to Salt Lake City. I'm going to be in the Rocky Mountain Groom Expo, Super Zoo, Chicago, Hershey, probably New England, and I don't know about Orlando.
All right.
Okay.
So for me, it'll be Colorado, Super Zoo, and possibly Fun in the Sun.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I'm definitely gonna go to Hershey. I'm trying to see if I can make the Groom Texas one. Have you guys been to this
Oh,
at
in
all?
Dallas. I'm going
Oh
to be
yeah,
in Dallas.
where's that Pet Pro?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dallas Prep. Why do I?
Yeah, that's November. That's right down the street. So I was at that one last year. So I'll definitely do that because it's the local and it's close. The Groom Texas in Houston. Have you guys been to that one at all or no?
No,
I haven't been there.
never been
Might
to that
check
one.
that one out.
Chris travels way more than I do because she works with Evolution. Whereas I look at my schedule going, yeah, no.
You deserve to do that now, Mary.
Well, okay, there's reasons I go to certain shows. Atlanta, I have a daughter in Atlanta. Okay.
Makes sense.
Super Zoo because it's Vegas. I mean, what can I say?
You're only so disciplined.
Only can be so disciplined. Tacoma, that's my hometown, my home show now. I did Pasadena last year. It's a nice show. I mean, I like the area, but you know what? I don't have to be at every single show. Nor do I want to, because I don't think Alex knows this yet, Chris.
What?
I have a greenhouse now.
No way.
She's
Yes
a gardener
way.
now.
Yes.
So is
And
that like your full, like, I mean, that's like a full-time job, right? Like I've heard people
oh
have
yeah,
jobs that
I'm,
it's like
I'm
a
telling you,
full deal.
it's going to be a full-time job.
That's awesome. Are you so what's the plan right now? What are you planning to put in there?
Oh, okay. You mean what's already in there? I have loads of vegetables. I got fruit bushes in there. I've got flowers in there. So that's where we're starting.
Okay.
And
That's a good
already
starting point.
it's a fairly large one. It's 13 by 26.
Okay.
So this is my experimentation year. I'm seeing what does well, what doesn't do well, to see whether or not it gets invited back next year.
No, I like that. I mean, I've always wanted to experiment with some of that stuff. I mean, because it's one of those things where you could figure out a way to not do that much and still have fun with it, or you could figure out a way to do a lot. Like there are all sorts of little optimizations on the
Yeah.
seeds and the soil types and the water and the temperature and all that sorts of stuff. I mean, it's a whole thing in and of itself. So, I mean, that's super exciting.
Yeah. And even my husband is like, you know what, he's getting into it. Like we were in Costco today and I needed to pick up some dirt, and they have, for the big planters, they have the wheels. I mean, really nice ones, better than I've ever seen at Home Depot. So of course we're in there picking that up, and you know I'm gazing at the plants, because they have plants there, and that's just like, oh, this one's nice. We should get this one. Isn't this one pretty? He used the word pretty, Chris.
I can't, like, I believe you, but I still can't picture it happening.
You guys are plant parents now.
Yes, we're
Yes.
plant. Yes.
You know, the evolution is kids, or it's dogs, kids, more dogs than plants.
Okay, so the evolution has been kids, dogs, more dogs, more dogs, more dogs, plants.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm excited for the plants. That should be fun. You should make some stuff that you can cook with too.
Yeah, I've got herbs in there as well. I did some mushrooms in there, which actually did really well. So I will probably at some point figure out how to do mushrooms without like buying the kit, just.
Yeah, smart. That's super smart. Those are going to be hard though, I feel like.
No, actually the Pacific Northwest is probably like the best place in the world to grow mushrooms, because it is just so, I don't know, damp here.
Yeah. I'm thinking about growing them in Texas, and I'm like, I don't even know where I'd start. I'd have to stand over it all day with a hose.
Yeah. Mister. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? They also make like these grow kits. So it's like in a tent, and
I've seen them. Yeah, they're like terrariums or something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines.
That's cool. That's super cool.
So I've read a ton of books on it already, a lot of contradictory information. But basically what I'm summing up all the books is, you can grow anything anywhere if you put the time and effort into it and make sure there's the right soil and water, whatever. Right now we're winging it.
I mean, you're gonna have to start a gardening podcast now, Mary.
I might have to.
Just to keep us updated.
I'm not editing it. It's not gonna be a thing.
Okay, as long as you stop the finger guns, we'll let you not edit it.
Okay. Wow. I'm sitting on my hands right now.
Yes, now we're gonna be watching her with eagle eyes. Yeah, I don't know, the grooming gardener.
I got squeezy things in each hand so that I don't accidentally.
No, I love that. You guys are funny.
So yeah, now don't worry. There's going to be a lot of pictures on my, especially since, again, a shout out to Meg Iofredo. We did that in the last episode, who showed me just how easy it is to do a reel on Facebook.
It's stupid easy, Mary.
Yes. So
You're going to be all up in my Facebook reels now, is what you're saying.
yes, I am.
Okay. All right.
Just be prepared for that.
All right. I don't know whether to mute Mary's account now or.
I almost did it. Maybe. I'm not saying yes,
But I'm not saying no.
I'm not saying no. I'm just saying that our hour is almost up. That's what I'm saying. It's yeah. We're at an hour and 6 minutes, 5 minutes and 50 something seconds. Anywho's. So
not that we're watching the time or anything, but go ahead, Chris.
Not that I'm trying to be professional or anything, because this time Mary is not the only one who didn't have dinner yet, because I opted for a nap. Okay, because I am an adult, and follow me for more adulting tips. I had a very small slice of cake as a snack and a nap because I can, because I am an adult.
Thank you.
So, it's dinner time now. All right. Well, Alex, thank you very much for coming on. And this isn't airing for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So I will have had, and the recording will be up of the Almost Everything Shears, which is just a touch and a taste. And I'll talk about where I may or may not be giving that class later, the full length version.
Amazing. I can't wait. No, thank you guys for having me. This was awesome. This was on the bucket list for a while, especially after having you guys on, and big fan of the show. I'm a big fan of what you guys do in the space, obviously. So thanks for having me on. Really, really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Oop, I have to do the correct button, but guys, thanks for joining us, and safe travels, everybody. Well, that was fun, but now it's time to head home. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed chatting with you. If there are any topics you'd like us to discuss, or guests you want to see join us on this crazy road trip of ours, let us know in the Traveling Groomers Facebook page. Don't forget to thank our sponsors. And see you next week, guys. Safe travels.